Welcome back, everyone. We're going to jump into our next match in just a minute, but first we've got some Heartseeker Varus skins to give away. Now, we've been combing through Twitter for the best responses to our question, what's your NA LCS-themed Valentine's Day message or meme? And after careful consideration, we chose these gems. Now, the first two deal with Scarra's handshake from our first game of the day. At Watchwork Stitch writes, roses are red, violets are blue. If you were a handshake, unlike Scarra, I wouldn't forget you. And at Trobnell Lol is taking a more Fatal Attraction approach to the handshake. You're like Scarra's handshake. I'll get you eventually. That's a little frightening. But then our following tweets come from at Rayathe, and his mind is on tomorrow's rivalry match with this Valentine message. Lift brings damage. Afro's got the snare. Can't wait to see Reginald sporting pink hair. Now, they're not the only one looking ahead. At Stefan Miline writes, roses are red, violets are blue, TSM, TSM, TSM. And at Truist takes his inspiration from one of our casters with, I like you like I like my damage. Tons. -3. And finally, at Riv Doge says, no relation, well, it has no relation to our own Riv, writes, I think my Valentine is Evelyn. Whenever I look over, she's not there. That's sad. That's a heartbreaking one.
Damn.
Why'd we have to end on a downer?
Well, man, we got some amateur Dr. Seuss's out there. That's pretty good.
Some pretty stellar rhymes. We'll keep those tweets coming our way. We're at LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS. Now let's get back to the business at hand with our next bout, Team Dignitas versus Cloud9. These are two teams that are coming off a solid week 3 after a turbulent start to the season. So I want to ask each of you guys, what do these teams need to do to secure their victory here?
Yeah, well, I'm going to look straight to Dignitas, and they looked more like they had confidence in their game last week against Team Liquid, and it's the first real shred of it we've even seen. When they had crumbs early in the season, you could tell there was some internal turmoil on that team, but the lanes in particular were playing aggressive. Even though Cloud9 did not play particularly well, the team trusted what they were doing, and it kind of unlocked them to actually show their skill level because there's some really good players on Dignitas.
Yeah, and speaking of confidence, Kiwi Kid said that he thinks they're the second best bottom lane behind CLG's. Core JJ won lane against TSM's Wild Turtle and Team Liquid's Piglet. Lustboy shared some inside information on Twitter, actually, that he said that Piglet pushed Core JJ out of SKT T1's final tryouts. So it had to be a huge boost of confidence and to feel really good that he outplayed him.
And then go 907.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep, well, that's all you have to say there, right? And then on the other side of things, of course, we've got Cloud9, and they've climbed their way into a tie for 3rd place after a pretty rocky start in the beginning of the season, and they're looking to reclaim their former dominance.
Yeah. Woohoo, they did 2-0 last week. First time. You know, arguably, they had an easier schedule last week. They played Teammate and Coast. They started the year, actually, with a killer schedule. So even this week against Dignitas and Winterfox, two teams that come into the week at 2-4, it should be good for them if they look to rebuild their confidence. The person that probably needs more confidence rebuilding than anyone else on Cloud9 is Hai, who struggled early on. But last week, he finished the entire week without dying, which is incredibly important for Cloud9 because we've actually heard in an interview that when Hai dies a lot, he stops being able to shot call, and that responsibility falls over to Meteos. But we know that Hai is a world-class shot caller, so him being able to play that role is the most important thing for Cloud9.
Yeah, he doesn't have to carry with his play. He has to not die and then carry with his calls later on. But somebody who does seem to carry a lot of these games is Balls. He also had a great week, and he dominated the top lane as Rumble against Coast's 2v1 lane swap and a 1v3 dive. He really just upset that game. C9, they look like they have a new life in them, and they're kind of revitalized here and actually making new innovations. We saw the Banner of Command come out, which I absolutely loved.
So nice.
It closed out that early lead for them just beautifully.
Yep.
The Banner of Command, and then the presence of mind to stand in front of it so that
Block
it wouldn't
the
die,
culling.
block the culling so it'd stay
Secret
alive.
Service Meteos.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty stellar play. And of course, confidence and momentum can benefit teams, but it's a double-edged sword because teams have to be careful that they don't buy into their own hype.
I don't know if momentum's that useful for competitive because it gives you confidence knowing that you're doing well, but sometimes that can lead to overconfidence. I feel like us winning IEM San Jose kind of hurt us coming into the split because right when you win something, you're feeling good. You're like, oh, sweet, we got it. Don't worry, boys. Like, LCS will be no problem. And then we like 0-2, and we're like, well, shit. But for TSM, they went 0-2, and IEM San Jose, so it's, you know, a lot more motivation. Like, okay, we don't want to have this happen again. We need to work really hard. So I think, in a way, losses can be more motivation than wins, but wins give you more confidence. So I think you can take something from each, and we just have to remember to, keep our heads straight and keep improving.
Yeah, it's really funny that Meteos says that too, because that's probably one of Cloud9's biggest battles throughout NALCS history since they've been too dominant. Even their very first split, they were 25-3, and they walked into Worlds way overconfident. It's unfortunate that he feels like that happened again to them at the start of this split, because they'd finally triumphed in some sort of international play. IM San Jose was their first international tournament victory, and they felt so good about that. But if it makes them slack off, they got to be careful.
Better now, though, than at Worlds this year.
Much
right?
better.
So
Yeah.
making that
Spring
realization
split,
early in the
2015.
spring split, maybe they can get through the rest of the year with that knowledge in mind. Well, without further ado, we're going to send it back over to Freak and Kobe for the play-by-play.
Thank you very much, Dash. What's up, guys? We're going to go right into the starting lineup. So on the blue side is Team Dignitas. Gamsu in the top lane, Cloud9 in the jungle, Shifter in mid, Core JJ on AD carry, and Kiwi Kid on support.
And on the red side is Cloud9. Up top is Balls. In the jungle, Meteos. Mid, high, AD carry Sneaky, and support Lemon Nation. The only problem with that is you do have to win games to get to Worlds.
That's true.
You can't just lose all my games. Oh yeah, we've had the best practice and prep for this.
It's true. At least there's 3 slots, so no matter what, 30% chance they get to go.
That's not exactly how that works.
No, not really.
It's okay though. You didn't take calculus.
What? There's no calculus involved. I'm literally just saying 3 of 10 teams go to a world.
I'm well aware.
Okay. Just draw names out of hats.
All right, so Lissandra right off the bat, I think that's an all-around good ban. Now, looking at this matchup specifically, Meteos has used Vi 3 times, which is very curious. But that makes me put a lot more pressure on the bottom lane here. Core JJ has shown a lot of success with Sivir, which is also very good against Vi. If Cloud9 really want to continue this trend and go with Vi, they might consider banning out, something like the Sivir for bottom lane for Core JJ, because him and Kiwi Kid actually have performed really well in lane as of late. So they take out, something from Kiwi Kid instead, go with the Annie. But the Sivir still remains.
And the Jarvan is grabbed. Now, what I will say, though, is as we saw last game, as long as you don't target Sivir, Vida's okay. Thankfully, Xiao gave him a nice shiny
They
Ezreal
have
to
2 AD carries to go after.
Right.
Great, there's another option.
So they counterpick themselves, that's fine. But, we talk about how as long as High doesn't die too much, Cloud9 does well. Well, whatever, can't play with Vi, who cares?
That's the thing. That's a really broad statement. And
I know.
I mean, people have to look at the actual in-game play. I feel actually like since there's so much pressure from fans and everyone giving High a bunch of flack for dying so much, it has changed his play style, and it's worrisome for me because he's been playing really, really safe now, which is so unlike High, and you lose a lot of things that he actually gained for the team with his really aggressive play style. And now I feel like, at least last week, it seemed like he played a bit too timidly. But we'll see how it rounds out now, because they have been recouping over the last week with their scrims, going a bit better. And right now, they've got a great team fight already picked up. Maokai with some single target peel for Kalista. And anytime you do have any sort of damage reduction, anything to keep Kalista alive, in those skirmishes, it's going to do great things for Sneaky, who was one of the earliest adopters of the champions, and definitely one of the AD carries, premier player in the world on Kalista.
Absolutely. And I actually want to know, just as my own interest, what build he goes for. So he had gone for a Ruin King first last time we saw him play it. Ruin King into Hurricane, I believe.
Yeah.
I asked Charlie about it. He's like, yeah, every AD carry just has their flavor of the week builds. They don't necessarily have a reason for it. They just sort of build things in the order they think is correct, and it just changes every week or two.
Well, Sneaky does have reasons. I was also talking to him, and he really likes the earlier spike of Blade of the Ruin King. But yeah, you're right. Obviously he's tried out all paths with Kalista, so he can easily go through Runins if they want that wave clear.
I do remember a game he played back last year, though, where Lemon told him an item build in the drive over, and he's like, yeah, I'll just go for it. And he did it for the first time ever in a game.
All right, though. As we spent a lot of time on Kalista, the full lineup here for Dignitas pretty much already moused over. And this is the combo they went with. So early pick on that Sivir, as I was looking for with Core JJ. Happy to see him on this champion. He's performed really well with it in combination with Thresh. Because Sivir, again, doesn't have her own dash, but the reposition with Thresh as well as her own ultimate and Spell Shield, she can actually do a good job avoiding the Maokai snare. And it makes the team fight really hard for High. So this is probably going to be a more split pushing oriented Zed. We have seen some teams actually try and utilize him as far as team fights go, but I expect Cloud9 to get some more cross-map play going. They usually like to trade objectives more effectively and go with a split pushing for High.
Wow. And Italy is the grab here for Meteos. So yeah, the only champion he's won with so far is Vi. Everything else is lost for him, but Nidalee going to be the pickup here. One of the first jungle Nidalees we're seeing in North America.
Now, jungle Nidalee is just ridiculously strong, especially on the patch they're playing it right now. So we'll see how early Meteos can take over the game, because when Cloud9 were in their prime, it was all about Meteos' early jungle moves, getting deep vision, completely tracking the enemy jungler. And even though he's going against Jarvan, who's basically top tier jungler right now, Nidalee can gain such a huge advantage with quote-unquote cheesy tactics of invading jungles early. And in the early stages of the game where there are very few wards and you have to rely on those trinket wards, the surprise factor of Nidalee popping out is really, really harmful to a team early. Let's see what sort of early lanes shape up here. And the deep wards early, I think, to see if there's a lane swap, are going to be really telling for this one. Because Gnar, with the range ability, does have a pretty good 2 versus 1. I mean, balls on Maokai can sustain fairly well and at least clear at his turret.
Yes, we'll see how the lanes end up shaping up. But guys, the game is about to go live, so start spamming your votes on Twitter. Send hashtag DIGWin or C9Win to @LOL Esports. As always, we will show your votes throughout the game. Right now, people say TSM. They're not in this game. Your sign is useless right now.
A lot of fans usually vote with the team with the Gnar and Jarvan combo, but Cloud9 gave that away knowingly. They're definitely well known for giving up combinations like that because they know they can play around it. Gnar, very easy to keep track of the rage and try and work around it. Gnar combo does not work with mini Gnar. It's only when he's in the mega form, and since they have taken a split pushing threat like Zed, we'll see how Cloud9 and High are actually able to manipulate their map presence to work around Gnar and Jarvan combo. Because in exchange for this, they did get Nidalee extremely high pick as well, and Janna, which will help with that extra move speed.
This invade is failing pretty bad from Dignitas. Does Balls actually want to go for this? The team is around. Another javelin hits. That's a lot of damage.
That could be first blood there if he flashes for it.
Yeah, Balls have gone sapling though. Blocks a javelin. All right, so that is a flash lost by Cloud9 to start this game off. And no deep wards allowed for Dignitas, but they are allowed for Cloud9.
All right, let's see. Now, Sneaky, extremely confident in his laning on Kalista, but Cloud9 as a team very, very, very much prefer lane swaps to get balls ahead. And you can see Maokai here, one of the strengths, especially in swapping lanes like this, is that he can easily start this Wraith Camp by stacking up saplings at 1 minute 20, because they last 35 seconds, immediately explode all of the little ones, and then he can either stick around, kill that big one, or immediately teleport him into a lane if there's a quick shove that they see. 2v2 answered top. Cloud9 are aware of it. They saw Sivir run up through the lane, so they're going to stick up there and call this one. As we said, Sneaky extremely confident in his early laning with Kalista. Against Sivir, he should be able to dodge the Boomerang Blade, but not the Ricochet. So for JJ, obviously, going to go with that one early. And they do not get that Targon stack. I think he was leaving that one for Kiwikid to execute. Unfortunate. They do get that one, though. Only one minion lost. Maokai level 2 off of that Wraith Camp. Going to get into lane versus the Gnar. And Maokai's combo, actually, since he gets to go back and buy a bunch of potions after the Wraith Camp, he matches up pretty well versus Gnar fairly early on. All he has to do is work around mini Gnar.
Yep. Right now, though, Dignitas have to work around the hook that just lands from Kiwikid.
Hard to dodge when you're hooked, though.
Yeah. Good boomerang or tornado by Lemonation to prevent a would-be follow-up by Kiwikid. Didn't choose to go for it, but it was there just in case. Good early damage. The ricochet spam manages to get dodged by the C9 duo lane, so they don't take too much extra poke.
Yeah. Sneaky's probably just going to try and farm up here. Level 3, Kalista does get a large boost in power, but Kiwi Kid is the one with the playmaking support right now. Sneaky fine with farming up as well. Meanwhile, here comes Meteos, as expected with the Nidalee. She can stay really healthy in the jungle because of the snare with her traps, as well as the spear. And it does not have to go for an early back. Now he's got his sights set on Shifter. If he lands...
Ooh, good dodge. A little bit of poke.
Yeah, and he can stay in bully.
Oh, wow. Oh, right, he's ranged, yeah. That's it. Yeah, I forgot. I was like, oh, he's under turret. Just kidding.
She is both ranged and melee. Oh, look at this roam here from the top side. Hai and Meteos were starting to head up there. Hai going to stick around. Now, the other thing with Nidalee is you can also lay a bunch of traps in the brush that are leading up to your lanes. So with especially blue buff, Meteos can gank, then lay a bunch of traps in the brush that he thinks Cloud Wind will travel to, and it gives Hai a bit more protection in the mid lane, which, as we said, very crucial for this team. You protect Hai, you protect your shot caller. If he starts tilting in lane by getting behind, then the whole team suffers, and Meteos has to take over with the shot caller. But he's doing fine with the Zed, big CS lead, some extra bullying there, and some confidence from Meteos. Securing Hai, very strong early game.
And you can see Cloud9 starting to be concerned about what just might happen with this Jarvan. Tornado went through the center brush right there. Elimination didn't get any gold for it, and Cloud9 wasn't there, but they have not seen this Jarvan in quite a while. And as their lane starts to push out, they've got to be concerned about the gank paths.
All right, he's got the Raptor buff. He knows his gank is unseen. And he places the ward, prepping for the aggression first. Because very dangerous. If you EQ into a lane to try and close on a laner as Jarvan and Nidalee is there for the counter gank, you are sitting duck. That spear lands, you guys will get destroyed.
Look how far back Hai is playing, though. He knows he's got no ward coverage. Walks a step forward, Cloud9 shows himself, gets nothing.
Not only does he get nothing, but he reveals to a Nidalee his position. Thankfully, he placed this very common ward nowadays around the mid lane, so he sees that Meteos is coming right after him. Ping down bottom.
Ooh, good play. Spell Shield does the same, though. CoreJJ not taking much damage. The duo lanes just trading close to equal. Small CS lead for Sneaky. So far, the fan vote has been accurate every single game so far, by the way. So you guys on Twitter, stepping up today.
They've been very sneaky. Oh!
Hold on. Great hook, great play. Sneaky down to 300 health, but wants to re-engage in this one.
Yeah, he's trying to get the best out of the trade. Even on the losing end of the lane of the trade, you can see the really strong AD carries. Try and get as much damage on the exit from the trade as you can possibly get without overextending yourself. Ooh, bit of a bluff right there. So, I do definitely condone going all in on a level 4 jungler. Just a little bit of a misstep there, though.
Careful, though. A lot of health. Sneaky forced to summon a heal. Exhaust comes out as well. With the flash of CoreJJ. This duo lane's working real well for Dignitas. Repeatedly now, these guys have really stepped up the last couple of weeks.
They have the pressure. However, if Sneaky is able to work up here, he can easily just go back at a Cutlass buy point rather than have to wait for an entire BF sword with Kalista.
No ward coverage at all.
Sends out the scouts.
They saw him. Ooh, wow.
No, you saw nothing.
They pinged like mad right there, but Meteos sees something.
Nidalee is a
goodbye. Solo kill in the jungle. Meteos stalks his prey.
And I just want to say that, last time, even though they saw Meteos coming after him in the jungle, there was nothing that Jarvan could do to chase him out, and Meteos left behind multiple wards in the jungle. So continuously hunting down Jarvan, as we were looking for, inside his own jungle. And he does finally find that first blood. We'll see what item path Meteos goes for. Some Nidalees have actually started avoiding going with the early tier. And Zed doesn't necessarily need the blue buff. It does benefit him. But Meteos could easily hog those if he wanted to go with a bit more greedy of an item path and get an earlier power spike to continue to make use of his lead over Jarvan. Just go some more straight AP.
And it might be the path next. With First Blood, he's going to have a lot of money to buy items with. Immediate
He's probably going to
Vegas.
go, fully upgraded jungle item.
Yep.
He is a very, very strong force. And you can see the deep wards here coming from Dignitas. Going to try and keep tabs on him. We'll see him when he goes for that blue buff.
He got himself a ward as well, but right now Dignitas trying to rely off these recall timings to sneak themselves a dragon here. They did swap their dual lane back to the bot lane after the initial trade with a BF sword. They look to push a different turret down to get the dragon forward as well. Very nice move there. Recall the BF sword, show bot, get a dragon.
Yeah, so they called the lane swap. The thing is, they're going to get bullied, pushed in pretty hard up top here. You can see they already forced Gamsu off of that top turret because he doesn't have a lot of defensive ward, and Hai already threatened to move up from the mid lane. So it actually wasn't too bad for Cloud9. They don't have to fight the Sivir with a BF sword compared to just a Vamp Scepter here and some attack speed for Sneaky. And they actually get to trade an early dragon for a top turret, which is a great trade. So even though Dignitas are the ones who make that call and they swap over to get this dragon, Cloud9 actually not very disappointed with the move.
You know what's actually crazy about this as well? Is Gamsu's first recall was Hex Drinker, and then fought an AD lane right afterwards. He bought all this magic resist, expecting to fight Maokai, but that was actually never in the cards for Dignitas here.
I mean, I feel like they focused on that dragon a little bit too early. We'll see, though. It might pay off for them if they can stack it, you know, using the repeating cooldown. They have the exact timer. Cloud9 can only guess.
Yeah.
Try and look at the enemy. Try and look at your enemies constantly and check when they have that buff when it first appears, and then sort of estimate the time of the dragon.
Yeah. I want to see if Dignitas can actually pressure the bot lane out. They're 2v1ing with a gigantic item lead. They're facing Catalyst Maokai. Can they pressure that turret down, equalize that score? It seems like it should happen for Dignitas.
Balls pretty much just has to play around the hook. He's spamming his AoE spells, just trying to clear the waves. And he's doing a very good job of defending that bottom turret 1 versus 2.
Uh-oh, there's a ward
God.
there. In comes Meteos. Nice hop over the wall, though. That was Meteos' flash for that honor. So, Dig gets away safely. No pressure in the bot lane, though. It looks like these guys got pulled back somewhere else.
Yep, they got pulled up to the mid here. So that means Balls gets free time to farm down there on Maokai. This Maokai is getting a really easy route up to his Rod of Ages.
He gets clear away a ward with no one against him, so a lot of that goes away. The Kalista Sentinel's also ensuring that there's really no good gank paths available into the bot lane either.
Sneaky now able to complete the full Cutlass, and he is going with the Blue and Blade of the Ruined King build once again. Has been his preferred route for a little bit now. Able to get the earlier spike, as well as more 1 versus 1 potential.
And we're going to finally see CoreJJ put back into the bot lane. Back for a pickaxe. Still got nothing done with his initial 1v2.
The other thing here, you can see the Cloud9. They really wanted to use this Zed split push for High, so they're already bringing it into action. And they swap him up to the top lane and bring their AD carry and support mid, where they can actually start to help Meteos control jungle. This is always really strong. When you can bring your support to the mid lane and your jungle's already ahead and you're on something like Nidalee who can continue to pressure the enemy jungle, it helps so much, especially since they already have the tether here for Lemonation. He doesn't really have to worry about the LeBlanc as much. Sneaky can always just put him in his back pocket, save him from the burst.
Yeah. But even still, Lemon was playing on the defensive side of that one. CoreJJ, he's not going to get the kill. Oh, okay, there we go.
Gets them both.
Yeah, sorry, they actually only time out when they see you. When you hit them, they just move slow. They don't time out. You can, however, miss kills on Sentinels.
So at 10 gold.
Hey, man. And +1 CS, it's 0.01 fantasy points, guys.
All right. Let's check back in on the split push, though, because the Hex Drinker early that you mentioned for building to lane against Maokai. Once again, Gnar not going to lane against Maokai. They've swapped the Zed up to the top. Hai can actually kill him in mini form. Now that Mega Form's popping, though, definitely don't want to go for that all in. Plus, Hai probably going to want his Brutalizer before he really wants to assassinate anyone. Cloud win.
Mega Gnar.
Shadow used. That is the signal to go in.
Flash burn, but the smite comes through. Looks like Dignitas still want this fight. TP comes in for balls. Will it for Gamsu? Of course not. He's already in the lane.
Lantern's
Lantern
there.
comes in. Flash by Gamsu, though. Takes the javelin. Meteos
So threatening.
doesn't
this
want to go into
jungle
3
Italy.
people.
Wow, he's going with Rod of Ages second build too. So he's not going for the tier. He is going for a little bit of stacking.
So that's what Diamond went for in their win over Elements. So
And it does. I mean, Link also did that with the mid lane Italy, I think.
2 games ago, yeah, not today, but last week.
Yeah, and it gives you a little bit more health to jump in when you do connect with the spear. But see how it works out for Meteos on the jungle in Italy. There's the play of the Rune King completed for high. Actually not stopping at Cutlass and going for the Brutalizer early.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the reasons behind those builds. I see them kind of differ a lot. He had exactly the right amount of money, so that's a good reason to do it.
Yeah.
but-
I see a lot of Zeds really try and prioritize the early Brutalizer.
I want to say Rune King's better when you're splitting against a tank. Somebody who's going to have a lot of health and a lot of armor, which diminishes the value of Brutalizer.
It's also a bit safer when you get collapsed on because you do have the extra slow and speed boost to try and escape. So since he's starting his split push so early,
Yeah.
Blade of the Ruined King, a bit safer option
Yeah.
to complete. And again, they swing him down bottom. He's going to get pressure on the bottom turret while they feed all of the mid lane CS over to Sneaky. Try and get him up to the second item.
And that means all of Cloud9 is here and available. Balls does not have teleport, so he doesn't go top lane. He stays in the bot side with his team. C9 not willing to give up Dragon number 2, it seems. But they're already pressing out in the bottom outer turret. This is a very great, clean, quick pickup by Elimination, Balls, and High down there. They share the local gold on the 2 of them. Dignitas, maybe they'll push mid for this.
Yeah, it's a really good decision to push mid. That's where they had their giant amount of wave clear here. Pushing it in very quickly. And Cloud9 just trading objectives, as we see from them a lot. Wow, they back off from just Sneaky and a flanking Meteos.
Oh, there's the engage, though. Can they pick up balls? The root's going to land on him. Kiwi Kid in the front line puts the box down. No real engage from High, but Kiwi Kid forced to flash away. Exhaust on High for nothing. He didn't even ult on this one.
Cloud9 need to kite and throw more spears. They need another spear to connect before they can do anything.
They
That's
saved
enough
mid lane.
to scare Dig.
They forced 2 ults. They forced an exhaust at cost of a heal of Sneaky, basically. And Lemon, I guess, ulted too. So actually a reasonably close trade. Nice spell shield by Core JJ. Mid lane, though, pressured by C9 now. It's that turret taking damage. Bot lane outer, by the way, already died here. So C9 out-rotating right now. Not choosing to stay for mid lane just yet. Too much risk for them.
And once again, it's the conceptual gain from Cloud9. They give away Gnar, Jarvan on purpose, and then have split push. They take the Zed pretty early, mid-draft, and they try and work Dignitas across the map. You know, force them to make these difficult decisions that Cloud9 are known for forcing their opponents to make. Now they can keep it up, though. They got the really big cooldown out of the way, which is Sivir Ultimate. That's Dignitas' biggest move here, is Sivir Ultimate and flashes on their Gnar Jarvan combo.
There is one big risk, which is the fact that there is no ulti up for Lemonation right here. If the fight starts, I don't think they can really stop it here from Cloud9. Will Cloud9 want to start it, though? The answer so far looks like no. Meteos and Sneaky will claim themselves the Dragon. So 1-1 on Dragon, C9 3-1 on turrets. Big lead for them.
I mean, the call was made. You kind of seem like, oh, why did Cloud9 force that Dragon? They're the team that's supposed to be pulling Dignitas across the map. The reason is that, once again, they're paying attention to the bar on Gamsu, and he had just exhausted Megaform, so they know they have an open window here, and they work around that. They know that this Dignitas team really relies on either Sivir Ultimate or flashing in to get this Gnar combo off. If the Gnar and Jarvan combo cannot lock down their backline here, then they can actually even go for these neutral objectives. And Cloud9 take the window, capitalize, and get it uncontested.
Well done by Cloud9. They are winning by every measure you could think of in this game. Even not quite every single lane, not just yet. Almost every single lane winning in CS as well, so. Great start for these guys. Looks like Hurricane will likely be the next pickup for Sneaky. My guess off that dagger.
Yeah, definitely.
Could be a Zeal, you don't know.
I mean, once you've already got the Blade of the Ruined King,
Yeah.
the second attack speed item, not only does it make you jump faster than you can even walk, but also the on hit from Blade of the Ruined King applies to everything as well. And if they don't get the stun locked down with the Gnar and Jarvan, then she will rip apart the entire team.
One thing to think about, though, with Sneaky is the way Hurricane works right now, until all of the bolts hit the target, you actually can't attack again. So you can actually nerf your attack speed by buying a Hurricane, or you can overbuy attack speed once you've got Hurricane, and the extra attack speed will be useless because you won't attack anyway. Ruin King Zerkgreaves Hurricane is going to be like 2.1 attacks per second, which is past what that cap tends to be with the Hurricane bolts. And we actually saw that kind of happen to Mash when he went for Phantom Dancer third.
Yeah.
It actually was a fairly useless item for him. So something that Sneaky will have to keep in mind with his builds.
Well versed at working around the attack speed scaling of Kalista, though. And it's always ever so nice to be able to reset that rend.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting near minions. He's so confident with all of these deep wards that they have on the red side jungle that they can even send their AD carry to split push. I mean, I guess they just had High having to buy right then, so that's why they're not using him. But Sneaky taking up the split pushing job because he was in the right spot at the right time, and they have the vision to cover it.
Hard engaged elimination, forced to ult and flash away.
Pretty big cooldown with the flash. But once again, Sivir ultimate down. And Sneaky's already up to the turret.
And look at that. C9 playing a really good job of split pushing while controlling objectives, controlling when they get engaged upon. They're trading ult for ult, which is very smart. They're not putting themselves in situations where they can be killed until Lemon's ult is back. And they just trade that with Sivir ulti. And Dignitas are unable to force engages in the disparity between those cooldowns. Sivir ult up in 81 seconds. And it's over 100 for elimination. There's a 20-second window where there is no disengage. Of course, it's a very small window, to be fair.
Yeah. And ideally, Dignitas would like to have Gamsuit charge up his Gnar Rage in a side lane and be able to have a ward in position to teleport in. It's so hard to actually coordinate all these things for the perfect engage for Dignitas, considering that you only have that 20-second window to work with. Thing is, you can even go for it still with Janna having her ultimate. If he doesn't have his flash, if you land the combo on Janna, you can easily lock her down.
It's true.
Very quickly.
And again, just stun her into the wall, and you guys are probably going to be fine. We'll see
So
if
far, though,
make that happen.
Yeah, not able to pull it off so far. And Cloud9, ever so diligent in their deep ward coverage. Everybody passing through leaves a ward through this red jungle. High making his move down to the bottom lane. Leaves one as well. Meteos picks up a couple more, and Ball's doing his part as well.
So over and over again, just wards get, lanes get swept up, wards get put down. C9 having to play this game nice and slow as they power themselves up. It'll actually take some time until High can one-shot a tank, but super late game, Zed can actually kill even tanky junglers and top laners with his full combo. So Last of Us, we're going to be a big component of that when it does happen.
Yeah, Gnar starting to build that armor. Feels much more confident, split pushing against either the Kalista or the Zed.
I will say I'm a bit surprised they weren't poking at the Hex Drinker weakness for longer, though, since there's still no major defensive item completions against AD champions from Gamsu.
Yeah, so the one matchup we saw with High and Gamsu, High didn't have any deep wards.
Ah, true.
So.
Jeez.
Holy moly. He's got his blue buff. So one spear landing on the mage who cannot get life back through life steal on creeps means that they are going to force Dignitas in all three lanes, and they get to take something out of the jungle. Just from that one spear landing, they're able to earn another blue steal.
And I wonder when Dig can get themselves into some decent footing. They're going to try one more time.
Sivir ult up, flashes for both Jarvan and Gnar available.
And no flash for Lemon.
If they can collapse onto Cloud9 and pin somebody down.
Okay, look for High. Presses W twice. One more, he can search the web. But it's going to be a Baron attempt here. Looks like there is
Dragon.
no vision control. Dignitas are not aware. Beautiful play by Cloud9. They never looked like they were trying to set up Baron. But by the way, they were. They are just warding everything all the time. Kiwi Kid's like, oh, crap, guys.
Dodge that spear. Nope. Take the hit.
puts the box down, wraps himself up, is hunted by Meteos, but nothing doing there. The flash engaged by Balls, so the fight starts. Kiwi Kid goes down, turns him into Yogurt. Now on the backside, Cloud1 cannot do nearly anything to Sneaky. That is a 2 for 0. Dignitas forced to run. Why'd they even try to fight at all?
Whew. Gonna have to hug the turret here, and with Baron, don't think they can even defend it. Cloud9 just gonna march right into the base. If they can't defend that one, 10 more seconds for Kiwi Kid, 18 on Cloud1. Should be an inhibitor turret as well.
Oh my gosh, so much getting picked up here. Inhib will, in fact, be exposed. 6 seconds on the Jarvan respawn. Cloud9 will stay for this one all the same. Middle inhibitor goes down. 24 minutes in. Cloud9 already got a Baron and a downed inhibitor.
Can't oversay this so much. Like, Cloud9, what they do to you when they're playing against you, not only do they dump deep wards into your side of the jungle. All right, well, let's see here. Because Kiwi Kid goes to check. Now, I guess if you're going to go check if they're doing Baron, might as well wait for the rest of your team. But maybe he was just trying to scare him off. Now this, they have a Mega Gnar, and they have Jarvan. Jarvan jumps in, he gets a Cataclysm down, but look at Lemonation. Even if Dignitas wanted to pull off the combo there, he ults Gnar away before Gamsu can even get in range. He would have to flash and hop to get there in time, and it was just too late. So Lemonation with the preemptive Janna ultimate
is definitely
able
keep
to
Gamsu
just
away.
Yeah, I mean that was key right there because there was going to be a counter engage. Dignitas, Jarvan made the call to go in. He set down the walls for Cataclysm.
Yes.
And Gamsu was headed in that direction.
They were so far apart too. Like Gamsu was barely walking forward at the time. It was actually, to me, and I agree with you that it was great by Lemon, it just felt still a little bit asynchronous. That Gamsu wasn't even in range to hop, right? He would have had to flash.
They definitely would have been hard-pressed to win the fight even if they got it off.
Yeah.
But Lemonation leaves them no opening. These are why Cloud9 games are so clean.
Cloud1 tries one more time. Gamsu is available to Mega Gnar, but did he end his own Cataclysm early? And look at this, no engage gonna happen there. Cloud1's ult is down, was not followed up by Gamsu yet again. Second time in a row now that Jarvan plus Gnar don't pair up. Pulse tanking some of the Boomerang Blade damage. And now inhibitor turret number 2 might go down. The flash engage lands onto everybody. Is the fight going to be enough though? High comes into the back line, looks for Core JJ. He just might pop. 2 for 0 so far. Sivir does live, but a couple kills get traded back. Shifter looks for a little bit, but won't find anything. Down goes the inhib turret. 4 for 1 there. Cloud9 with the gold lead. Just survive, and now they look at the Nexus. 26 minutes in. Holy crap, what a quick game. C9 maybe looking back onto form.
You could say that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is basically classic Cloud9. They split pushed, they forced difficult decisions on Dignitas, and once Dig committed to a decision of having everyone try and pick off high and go for the dragon, they instantly get the Baron and win the game off of that one Baron.
Yeah. Absolutely
Ridiculous
amazing.
execution from Cloud9.
They gave up 1 kill all game, and that was in the game-winning team fight with a dove and inhibitor turret.
Yeah, you finally see a flash Gnar ultimate. Too little, too late. Sneaky, just ridiculous. His Kalista was already at the point of having a BF sword on top of full attack speed items. So he's easily able to clean up that fight inside the base even.
So Dignitas, they found the engage exactly once. They had about 3 misfires before then. C9 played so well at getting away from the attempted engages and just poked, and split pushed until things fell apart. Well-controlled game, right? Happy to give up dragons. No unnecessary picks, and Dignitas, that's a tough loss to take because there's so little you can look at to say, well, what could we have done differently? There's only 20 minutes in the game. I don't know. 3 things happened.
Here's the thing. There are a lot of things you can go back to. Remember step 1. When they were in the lane swap, they had the Sivir with a BF sword.
Yeah.
Kalista had a Vamp Scepter. And they lane swapped down to take the early dragon. Cloud9 do not care at all about the early dragon.
That's true.
They'd actually rather take that turret. And Sneaky and Lemon easily push in for the turret. And they come at it really ahead on that exchange.
That's true.
Basically, both times Dignitas committed down to the dragon area. Cloud9 take a much higher ranked objective for it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that one. I forgot about the lane swap. That was a pretty severe misplay. I do love the ward control that C9 kept up. They absolutely did a better job. And think about Dignitas, right? They used to be running with Crumb for the last year or so, who would pretty much sightstone every single jungler he played. Was one of the few new jungler players as well. Just a guy who put down more wards than almost any jungler in the NALCS. They no longer have that player. Dignitas lost their number 2 warder, essentially, and Cloud1 has to make up for that, or the rest of the team has to make up for that. And you saw a big disparity in ward control.
And they're playing against Nidalee, the most oppressive jungler right now as far as invading your jungle really early on, and Meteos just destroyed him.
Yeah, so absolutely great play by Meteos and the rest of Cloud9. The fact that he was solo killing the enemy jungler in his jungle.
Yeah, that's what Nidalee does.
Yeah, well, yeah, but still.
You are not a jungler. You haven't had to deal with this, Freak, but for the last couple patches.
I have to deal with her diving me in bot lane turret.
There you go. Yeah. You get it when she shows up with double buffs.
After killing my jungler, yeah.
There you go.
No, don't worry. That happened enough to me plenty. So, of course, well done by everyone in Cloud9, right? Like that was a Cloud9 type game. Quick, decisive closing. We talk about how sometimes we see 2015 games end up being a little bit longer than normal, but
really,
games like
really
that
fast.
bring down the average.
On the
a
current
bit.
patch, that is one of the fastest games that we have seen. Just one Baron and ending it. Really good job by Cloud9. And also remember, they took steps to prevent anything from going wrong here. Meteos, where did he focus early? Mid lane. He was on both sides of mid lane, watching out for High, ganking High's lane, throwing down traps for High to make sure that Jarvan wouldn't get in there. Then he went with the deep vision. He was like, there's no way this Jarvan is going to turn around the game. And he eventually found Cloud1.
Yeah, so of course, C9 closed the game out with a great Baron attempt towards the end of that. We actually have a replay of that Baron attempt. We can pull that one up for you guys. Kobe, this is the attempt to get Zed.
Remember when we talked about these decisions that Cloud9 posed to their enemies? Dignitas, they have to catch somebody with this constant split push. They're just bleeding objectives. So they make the call to actually try and catch High here. So down by Dragon, they go for High. They're timing this with the Dragon respawn. You know, maybe if we don't get him, then we'll just grab this Dragon off of it. But Cloud9 have moved all of their vision coverage over to Baron. They used to have everything in this red side jungle, but they stopped their split push down there. They had High play more defensively, and they moved everything up to the Baron side. So Dignitas, they think that they've chased off Cloud9, but no vision on anybody else. Only Kiwi Kid here. He's like, oh, you know what? They're probably going to take advantage and do Baron. Goes over to check it. Again, Nidalee, extremely oppressive jungler. Meteos, they're so confident in this because they knew everyone was at Dragon. He didn't even have to stick around to smite Baron. He leaves to zone off the team. And then, once again, I just want to highlight Lemonation here. Jarvan goes in. Cataclysm goes down immediately. As soon as Lemonation comes out of knockup, he ults and doesn't let Gamsu even enter. So, you brought up the point. Even if Gamsu was able to get off that Gnar and Jarvan combo, they would have had a difficult time winning the team fight.
Yeah.
But he didn't even give him the chance.
Nope.
So that's why it's such a clean game. They don't even give you the chance, and then they push down mid.
Yeah, so again, beautiful stuff by Cloud9. They continually have played that game so well. They had like 7 wards around that Baron area. It was really glorious.
I like the efficiency that they ward with because they just pile their wards all in one spot. Early game, it was the red side jungle. And later in the game, they moved it straight up to Baron just in time.
Meteos and High on your screen here. We're going to be hearing from them. Those were 2 of the big guys getting those mid lane centric wards down. High buys like 3 wards per recall the entire game. Meteos, his first back was Trailblazer and a pink ward for High. Dropped that one down right away. Just vision control is definitely one of the big things that C9 has to their lead. I'm glad to see them keep that hallmark because that was the way they won that game, was just not allowing any options for Dignitas. Well played by them. But you saw him on the screen. We're going to see him again. Let's see what the pros have to say about that match. Dash is joined at the analyst desk with those 2 guys from C9.
Those 2 guys indeed, Freak. High and Meteos. One of the fastest wins we've seen in this current iteration of Summoner's Rift. And Meteos, I want to touch on that, the confidence clip that we saw during the game, where you were talking about how it can be dangerous for a team to have a boost in momentum and confidence. Games like this, though, have to give you guys an extraordinary amount of confidence. So where do you draw the line between coming out of this game with like, yes, this is the kind of, the form that we want to be in and we can roll with this, and hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves?
I think it just comes down to not getting complacent because when you win games, obviously it feels good. You can look at what you did right. but it's pretty easy to just go over a replay where you win and just like look at all the good things you do. Like I could go back, watch me kill drive and be like, oh yeah, I'm so good at the game. But in reality, we should be looking at the things we need to improve on, because no matter how well you play, there's always stuff you can be doing better. Maybe we could have worded better. There were some plays we missed out on, just stuff like that. So I think it's just about always looking to improve instead of just trying to think you're good.
Hi, you've always been very outspoken and critical of your own play, about how, even when we spoke to you last week, you were talking about how one of your biggest points of failure right now for the team is the amount of deaths that you were racking up. Well, last week and in this game, you're doing phenomenally in that area of growth. What else are you looking to individually to improve upon, as Meteos said, out of these victories?
Well, even though we win, there's still things we could have done. As an example, when they did the 3-man gank on me top, and we had balls teleport in, I could have told them to cancel the TP so we would still have it on a shorter cooldown. Even though it's like a minor thing, that's something that we could have done better. And as Meteos said, there are always things that you can always work on to improve on. And I had 100% of our team's deaths that game, so maybe if I didn't die, that'd be cool too. But
well,
yeah.
I mean, the deaths is, as long as the deaths are coming with a purpose, right? That was something that Jad actually spoke about earlier in the show today, was that, deaths are okay if they're the catalyst for something, or if they're in, the grander scheme of things, achieving something. But when we look at games like this where you guys had such an early lead, and you do this consistently, right? At 20 minutes in, you had 1 kill to 0, you had 3-1 turrets, you had 5K gold lead, and you were 1-1 in dragons. That's a gold disparity, kill disparity, and a dragon differential that we very rarely see. What do you attribute that to on your team? Because you guys do it day after day.
I think we as a team just played very well that game for the most part. We played very safe. We had a lot of vision up, so we could always see what they're doing. And when you can see what the enemy team is doing, it's very obvious what they're going to do next. So as long as we don't let them do what they're trying to do, they have no options of any plays they can make. We did our lane phase as well, and then we did a good rotation between our lane swaps, and they got punished for that. We didn't give them a chance to get anything, and when they couldn't get anything, they start falling behind. You just have to be patient, and you'll win the game as long as you keep up what you're doing.
I want to kind of roll that into the jungle, because you picked up Nidalee this game, and we know Nidalee as a pretty oppressive jungler, and she seems to fit very well into your play style, Meteos. What is it about that champion that you feel puts her at the top tier right now?
Well, I think she's top tier mostly just because her jungle clear is actually insane. She resets all of her Cougar form cooldowns when she hunts something, so you can just kill the camps way faster than every other jungler, and then you have so much mobility with your W. I didn't even buy level 1 boots until after my second item that game, just because they aren't really needed. On top of that, she has a ton of damage, and she just really does everything a jungler needs to do. If she had CC, she would just be too good, but aside from that, she's really solid. She's kind of like a carry champion, which I enjoy playing. It's fun to be strong and get gold and items, so I enjoy playing her.
So we've been struggling as a caster group to kind of break through the moment in the game where teams start to struggle with having taken the 3 outer turrets and can't seem to break the second tier turrets because they're significantly harder to dive and things like that. And with Dragon not giving gold, you can't necessarily build the item advantage that you would need to dive immediately when you're ahead. And a lot of times we find a lull in a game. So, where do you guys look as a team to press advantages when you kind of do fall into that mid game?
Well, we've actually had discussions about this before where we take all 3 outer turrets and we don't know what to do after, just because those second tier turrets are insanely ridiculous. You can't really take those turrets even if you're a little bit ahead unless they die out of there. So you're given a few options left. You either have to do Dragon. If it's dead, you can't do that. Baron doesn't spawn until 20 minutes, so you can't do that either. So your only option is basically to ward up and see what they do. If they try to get a fight and you get a good fight, then great. If not, you're basically left to just farm or try to get a pick. But there really aren't that many options to do after those first 3 outer tiers are gone.
Do you feel like there might be kind of a resurgence of siege comps, with the ability to disengage in order to maybe make an effort at pushing those second tier turrets before that 20-minute mark?
I don't even think a siege comp could take that second tier turret, honestly. If they're there defending it, it's much easier to defend the turret than it is to take the turret. So at the moment, you're really not given many options to do pre-20 minutes.
And so Nidalee, again, is another one of those junglers then, if you're looking to capitalize on the vision control that you guys play, do you think that is one of the stronger, or what, I should rephrase the question as, what other junglers would you look towards, Meteos, aside from Nidalee, to capitalize on kind of mid-game vision control and pick potential?
Well, pretty much all the junglers that have been meta for a while are probably still always going to be good. You have Jarvan, Lee Sin. Elise got nerfed a little too hard to do it anymore. And then there's Vi. So all these kinds of mobility, CC, damage champions who don't really need too many items, so you can buy Sightstone, those are always going to be, the popular junglers for a while, just because you can ward up, you can get picks on them when they try to clear your wards, and they sort of just accomplish what a jungler needs to do.
Hi, there's been some question raised about your health as that photo was put out on the web of the wrist guards or braces that you were wearing. I just want to give you a moment to touch on that. How are you feeling? What's going on there?
Oh, I don't really know, but since I've moved up to NorthCal, I think my desk height or something is really weird. So when I'm playing at home, my wrists have been hurting a lot. And I think I either heard it from my posture or I heard it from working out. So I've been trying to do things to help alleviate that pain, which is one of those things is the brace guards or wrist braces or whatever. And apparently there are like exercises that you can do to help that. I haven't done that yet, but I'm looking it up.
Well, we should get on those.
Yeah, and I'm going to a physician next week, Tuesday, to check it out.
Okay, but on the road to recovery and nothing to be too concerned about at the moment.
I hope so, yeah.
All right, I'm glad to hear that. Now, one final thought, just on tomorrow, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this kind of marquee matchup that there's been a lot of hype around going into tomorrow between CLG and TSM. Do you guys have a prediction you want to throw out?
I'll go CLG.
CLG?
I like them a lot right now.
All right, CLG looking strong.
That's a really hard one. We practice versus both of them a lot, and they're both so good right now. I think CLG might be a little stronger, just because, I don't know, they seem really unstoppable, especially when you play against them. They're just like, they do really weird things, but they're always on the same page about it. So they just have extremely good teamwork. They're all strong mechanically, and they get along super well. So I probably have to give it to CLG.
High praise for both teams, but tipping the scale in CLG's favor. Well, again, gentlemen, congratulations on this win. Looks like you guys are on the road back to some dominance, which I'm sure lots of people at home are happy to see. We do have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because up next it's Team 8 versus Team Liquid. We'll be right back.
The flash engage by Balls, so the fight starts. Kiwi Kid goes down. And the flash engage lands onto everybody. Is the fight going to be enough, though? High comes into the back line, looks for Core JJ. He just might pop. C9 looking back onto form.